Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. This video is for Canson in Canada. Canson, here's your unit. Basically, this is a replacement throttle body that you had in your vehicle. The production date, we can see it was made in 1998. Now it came in, it cleaned off very well, except for these marks. This is some sort of silicone. I didn't want to touch that because I don't want to scratch any surfaces. It seems to be that whoever installed it, they used a lot of this stuff all over to glue the gasket. So I cleaned off and polished the area so the new gasket can go on. I'll show you when I flip the unit upside down. So the new gasket can go on dry and it's going to be a nice seal. I don't know if there is any residue you find on the actual intake manifold, but this kind of stuff, I didn't want to touch it because I like to keep the unit as it is, because it is actually, it has cleaned off extremely well, so it's very nice and clean looking. So I'd rather leave it like that. I mean, that's my preference. A little pin was missing here, so I put in a clip to hold a return spring wheel here. This is where return spring connects to the throttle linkage. Now I'm going to show you operation first. It's been on the bench for a couple of days, so as you can see the temperature is pretty high. Just go Celsius, we're in Celsius out there in Canada. There's 38 degrees, right? So a cold unit, for example, as you can see, is at 20 Celsius. This is another working unit. This one has been on the bench for less time, so yours, as you can see, has been on the bench longer because it's warmer. It takes a while to warm up this unit because it's all aluminum, so the case dissipates heat very well, so therefore it's like a radiator. Okay, so the linkage readjusted, so it's nice and smooth and very easy to move. I cleaned it off internally. So this is this I don't know what kind of stuff is this. It seems like a glue. It is very hard. It was very hard for me to clean off this residue. It's ridiculous. I don't know what this is, and especially here we can see more of it. I don't know what's wrong with these guys. I mean, whoever used this stuff, but again, you will not see the unit once it's installed, and on top it looks pretty good. But I don't want to run it by my machine because then it's gonna be discolored, and this stuff does not clean off with regular chemicals. Cleaning chemicals I use to keep them clean, because see, this is another unit I cleaned. They're nice, you know, they look really nice. You know, this is a 1993 unit. As you can see, this one cleaned off just like yours, and it even shines just like yours. It has a little bit of a shine to it even, you see. It's nice. I didn't want to run it with the machine because machine takes the shine away. After a little bit it oxidizes, so you wouldn't want that. So I'd rather keep it in original condition. And again, the gasket surface area here cleaned off nice, so we have perfectly smooth surface, because I actually did clean this off very nicely from all of this extra glue, because it was even going around the brim here. This is not good. Now that's that. Operation, as you can see, it is operational. It works just fine. It's been on the bench on and off. Now for test purposes, I'm showing you full operation on your vehicle. I'll show you that in a minute. You're gonna have this control module, somebody else's module I'm working on. This is from your SL500. So I'm gonna show you how it's supposed to work when you plug it in back on the vehicle. Right now it opens at 90-degree angle, and that's because the control module I'm using allows me to do so. So also the module I'm using to test these units allow me to show micro switches, 129 V8s and 140s V8s. For some reason, micro switches, they're not read by the module, so I guess it's technological, whatnot. I mean, it's not important. Okay, so what we're looking here is 0.47, middle of the range, 0.4, 0.6, so we're about in the middle of the range. 4.25 top potentiometer, very good. So we open our throttle plate. Micro switches change their position to off on, and obviously voltages, they do follow the more I open the plate. This can jump around, don't worry about that. That's just because it's just the way the software is. You see, it just jumps back and forth a little bit. Not to worry about again. So that's our voltages. As you can see, voltages follow just fine. The more or less you move the throttle plate, voltages, they do follow. That's important. That means potentiometer tracks right. Also, if there would be something wrong with the unit, obviously it would shut off. I do not see any issues with this throttle body. It did not have much of the miles put into it. I don't know, maybe 30,000-40,000, maybe something like that. 50,000 maybe, because the wear I see inside is actually pretty low. Although the plate was quite dirty, but that cleaned off very nicely, so no problems. And that's why this unit is actually pretty good. I mean, I pretty much like it, so we should definitely it's a keeper. So the next thing what I'm going to show you is I'm going to do a switch to this control module. So this is the 129 module. You're just basically going to see the difference how it opens versus the module I'm using. Okay, so this is how it opens on the test module, and let's go ahead and plug in the module that will be found on your vehicle, so you see its operation, so you will know that it is correct operation. Just my rig here. This is your wiring loom. As you can see, the power is already on. I just have to put the plug on. Okay, so the plug is on. Missed it because I have to push it on. Alright, something like that, that's enough. So for test purposes, that's going to be enough. As you can see, opening of the throttle plate is limited, and that is a normal operation on a V8. The module right now is in diagnostic mode, obviously. It's ignition on, engine off, that's what it thinks. So, because there are no other communication going around. So therefore, it will allow you to open it this much. When you drive in the car and accelerate fully, throttle body should open all the way at 90 degrees at a wide open throttle under full load. But so you do not over rev the vehicle, there is a limit to it before you start the engine actually. So that's how it's programmed, and that's normal operation, so do not be alarmed. That is the way it is. So see, from here on there is no more activation. But throttle is capable of opening all the way. That's fine. That's because, again, I'm using specific module for all my tests just to show visual operation. But the proper operation in real life will be like this. Okay? That's how it's gonna be. About 2/3. Okay. So this is basically all. So the unit is ready to go back. I do not see any issues. Some light service, some lubrication, a cleaning. That's basically what was performed. But I do not think that your issue is in this throttle body, because to me, throttle body looks fine. Maybe you do have an issue with the module itself. That's probably what happens, but again, I rarely work on these. I'm just trying to fix this. This is a 95 SL500 module, and they're hard to find. I'm just trying to see if my repair on this module succeeded. I tried it twice already. This is the third thing that I'm doing to it. A third possible problem area in this a probable component that is bad. So I'm gonna just connect some throttle body to it and just let it be, because this module has intermittent problem. Sounds like yours, because the customer who gave me this module, he has another one in the car now, so he can drive. But this module, it could work for, I mean, the customer can drive this car with this module for like weeks, sometimes months, and then one day it just keeps going into limp, and then he shuts the car down, restart it. Sometimes it would drive fine again, sometimes he would have to restart the car 3, 4, 5 times a day. It's a temperature dependent, so when it's colder, then he has to restart it more frequently. And finally, when it totally failed, it was a really cold day. It was a negative 10 or so in Celsius. It was really cold out, or negative 15 Celsius. It's one of these very cold day, and he came to me, his local customer, and he said, that's it, I restart the vehicle, the engine is warm, car is stuck in limp mode. So I just took this module out, put another module in his car, problem solved. He just kept driving on it, and his throttle body was also rebuilt. This one is not rebuilt, but I rebuilt his throttle body, so it was fine. Now I knew the throttle was fine because I gave him one of my modules, because I got a bunch of modules over here for different models, and I put it in, and then he never called me back. He drove through the whole winter. In summertime he came by, I put this module in, 3 days later, same problem, so he gave it back to me, and then I put it on the bench, and then it worked for 3 or 4 or 5 days and then failed. So anyway, so this is the last resort, and that's why I don't really work on them, because test is difficult. These modules, they're not like V12s. That's a different story. So they're like totally different modules. So anyway, that's the idea behind the controller. So you might have an issue with the controller. Plus, if it's a Canadian car, if it's destined to Canada, you might have different number. This is 0732. This is US version. Throttle body will be same, but again, because Canadian market, they do have slightly different part numbers. I do not know exactly the difference between them, and I also seen European cars, and plus Australian cars, Japanese cars, the modules numbers, they're different. A slight difference, but I don't know exactly what is the difference on the board level and what is the difference in operational level. I'm sure it has to do something with throttle angles and emissions, but again, I'm not going that deep into that. So this is it. You got your throttle, you got your test, you've seen how it's supposed to be, you've seen full operation, you've seen proper operation that's going to be on the vehicle. So I don't have an issue with the throttle body. It's ready to go back to you for the installation on the vehicle. And being on the bench for a few days, clutch coil inside had been heated up pretty well, so I don't have a problem with it. By the way, this is the coil. That's what it looks like. It sits deep inside the throttle, so sometimes when this thing heats up, and you can see this one has some signs of overheating. This one was failed, but I fixed it. So anyway, something like that. So if that fails, throttle, usually when it heats up, it shuts down. You restart it. Sometimes it restarts, and you know, throttle body operates properly after a vehicle restart. Sometimes it doesn't. Usually the coils fail when they're hot. That's the most I've seen. Yes, they could fail when they're cold, but that's to be determined. I didn't want to just change the coil just because this throttle body, like I said, was manufactured in 1998. So this is the one that has good cables in it already. But again, internals, the potentiometer seems fine, the clutch coil seems good. So I think we're good in terms of internals, because I looked at the coil didn't look bad at all. So it didn't have any signs of overheat like this one, for example. You can see how it's supposed to be, like shiny, and here it's not shiny, and it's actually grooved. So it's not even straight, because this one was overheated. Sometimes you even see splits. This one doesn't have a split, so it's okay. So you get the idea. I think I covered it all, and it's ready to go back to you. Alright, so this is it. Victor here, RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.